What makes a great film? Is it the CGI, the acting, the directing, the editing? Is it the soundtrack? Well, hold on, let me try a different question. What makes a great story? Because storytelling goes way beyond films. People have been telling stories for thousands of years. That's how lessons were taught from generation to generation. That's how people were entertained around a campfire. But what is that number one element that makes a story relatable? Today, I'm going to tell you what that number one element is to make you a better storyteller. Welcome into the Fan-A-Ron. Hey everyone, my name's Peter. I'm a storyteller and a filmmaker. And you want to know what really grinds my gears? When I watch a film or when I read a book and I can't relate to the characters at all. Like I can't put myself in their shoes. I'm watching them go through a specific scenario, something that the writers created, something that the director formed and shaped. But I just find myself not caring. That seems to be happening more and more often nowadays. Every once in a while, there's a gem that shines through that really makes me care about the story, really gets me invested. But most of the time, it's just mindless entertainment. I just don't care. I turn my brain off and I just get lost in the action and the VFX. Let me give you two quick examples. Jurassic Park versus Jurassic World. In Jurassic Park, Alan Grant is the main character. And despite what you might believe, his real flaw is that he doesn't like children. It's apparent from the very beginning when him and Ellie are just arguing back and forth about whether kids are in their future. And it's shown even more when they get to the park and the two kids are trying to connect with Alan and he keeps running away from them and avoiding them. So that's his major flaw, and throughout the entire journey, I can relate to that because I've been there before. I didn't want kids for the longest time because I was focusing on other things. And as I've grown as a person, I've come to love children, and now I have children of my own. And as you watch Alan Grant go through his journey within this story, he goes from hating kids and trying to avoid them to having to step up and take responsibility to protect these children, these innocent people. And then by the end of the film, they're taking a nap on him and he's embracing them. So his journey is not necessarily survive the island and learn something about dinosaurs that he didn't know. His journey is to learn something about himself, that he's actually a caring person and a father figure and a protector. All the things that you don't realize until you actually have children in your life. Now, me personally, and I'm sure a lot of you who enjoy this movie, you empathize with that character. Let's take Chris Pratt's character now and break that down. What's his main flaw? Well, in the beginning of the movie, he's fixing his motorcycle. He is kind of maybe annoyed with the position that he has. He is trying to connect with these animals and prevent them from being used as property by the military. And throughout the journey, he is trying to help these kids survive, but he already liked kids before. He's trying to protect these people at the park from the dinosaur outbreak, but he doesn't have to really challenge his own personal belief by doing that. And he has to continue to kind of push back at the military industrial complex who are trying to take these animals and use them as weapons. But he already believed that in the beginning. So what kind of change does he go through as the main character? Does he have an arc? There are some elements about his story that I can relate to, but overall, there's no change. There's no empathy there. I don't have anything in common with this character because as humans, we are all going through changes in our life from our experiences. By the end of that film, the only thing different about Chris Pratt's character, whose name I don't even remember, that's how impactful he was that he was kind of annoyed with the redheaded girl in the beginning of the film, and by the end, they were kissing. I guess he learned to trauma bond with somebody. What I'm getting at is that the thing that makes a story great and relatable is empathy. I can empathize with Alan Grant. I can't really empathize with Chris Pratt's character. If you're a writer or a filmmaker or a storyteller, when you're creating characters, try to put yourself in their shoes and see how you would react in a specific situation. Or try to put people who you really, really know and trust, people who you can kind of predict their behavior because you've known them for so long. Put those people in the scenario that you're trying to create. See how they would react. There's a little trick called write what you know. And that doesn't necessarily mean to write a story about your life, something that you went through, but it's write your feelings and emotions into the characters. That way, you, when you read your story back, can kind of feel a sense of empathy as if you've experienced the things that your characters are experiencing. And then your audience will then connect with them a lot better as well, because that sense of connection is what draws people in to great stories. And it's what makes people remember the characters, the emotions that they felt as they heard the story. And then maybe they even learn a little lesson or two about their own life and their own person by experiencing a story rather than having to experience that scenario on their own. So the number one skill that's going to make all of us a better storyteller is empathy. If you've stuck around this long, I appreciate you all. I hope you got value from this video, and I will see you next time.